Yo, what's going on, everybody? I'm Ridiculed TV, back with another banger. Today we have Ellen's comeback. Apparently she's trying to come back. Everyone knows it's kind of like just one of those things where you gotta let go, man. You gotta let go, okay? Uh, there's nothing else to it. I mean, shit, I didn't watch your show even when you had your show. It was kind of boring. It's just something my grandma turned on. Rest in peace to my grandma, but yeah, this just how it is. I didn't watch it. I don't think anybody else really over the age of or under the age of 40 or 50 watches it. So with that being said, man, let's go ahead and check this out, bro.
So it has been a very long time since we last talked about Ellen DeGenerate, and that's mainly because she had gone
Holy
into
shit.
hiding ever since she was basically the only person
She's
to
gotten
be
old, bro.
legitimately cancelled. Well, her and that one Eagles fan, that is. For those of you who don't remember, or weren't around back then to remember, for years Ellen was one of the most successful people in show business, dancing around Target, embarrassing unassuming stay-at-home mothers for her own sick amusement, taking selfies with creepers, and who could forget cuddling with P. Diddy? And despite all of this foolishness, universally she did maintain a pretty good reputation, even receiving some sort of humanitarian award from Obama back when he was still president.
She was a good person,
On top of that,
I think.
her show was insanely popular for over a decade, and by the end of it, she was making well over $50 million a year, with tons of sponsorships and other opportunities rolling in every single day. And keep in mind, guys, this is back when you could find an oddly shaped Cheeto and end up on that godforsaken couch. And people ate this shit up for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and she was essentially being forced down our throats for a very long time. But for Ellen, it wasn't always like this. She had to grind for years to become a successful stand-up comedian back in the late 80s and early 90s.
Damn, so that's Ellen back in the day, huh? Holy shit. Jesus. Look at her hair, bro. God damn. That shit's like the color of gold.
And after being voted the funniest comedian in the country and making a few appearances on late night television, she would come out with her own self-titled sitcom that did very well. That wasn't until she revealed her sexuality both on the show and in real life.
Susan, I'm gay.
And the ratings plummeted because the world was not socially ready for that during the 90s.
And then everybody got so sick of it, it got to the point where even Elton John, who I'd never met in my life, Elton John said, "We know you're gay, shut up and be funny." It's funny because all along that was my biggest fear, is that it was going to get canceled.
I never wanted to be an activist. I just wanted to entertain people. I just wanted to make people feel good.
So then she was outcasted but slowly made her way back. And of course she gets the speaking role for Dory in Finding Nemo, which was a massive hit.
Keep swimming, swimming, swimming.
And this leads to her getting her foot back into the entertainment door and eventually becoming a titan in daytime television. And so for years her infamous catchphrase on her show that represented her entire brand was "Be kind to one another," as people even referred to Ellen as the Queen of Nice, which of course turned out to be horrifically ironic in the end. In 2020, hundreds of stories went viral on social media describing Ellen as a bully both at work and in her personal life. Talks of a toxic work environment were at the forefront of these complaints, including racist undertones, intimidation, and even sexual misconduct from high-level employees were all alleged against Ellen and this workplace that she had created. High-level employees from producers to talent on the show.
What did it say? Did she just ask you? What the fuck? One ex-employee said head writer and executive producer Kevin Lehman asked him if he could asked him if he could give him a hand job or perform oral sex in a bathroom at a company party in 2013. Another said they separately saw Lehman grab a production assistant's. What the fuck?
Employees were all alleged against Ellen and this workplace that she had created. High-level
She got her own little
employees
mini
from
Diddy party going
producers
on.
to talent on the show have all corroborated these allegations of a toxic work environment.
Were you surprised by the sheer number of responses that you got?
I actually was surprised by that, and especially the variety of different kinds of stories.
I was not expecting that.
Perpetuated all those
fuck?
rumors and kind of hearsay about like, oh, Ellen is not quite as nice she scenes and she would appear.
Muscat won
not
2
expecting your
daytime
face to
Emmys
pop
with
on
the
the
show.
screen.
She
My
was
bad.
let go in 2004.
As a host, she's amazing as a host. But as a boss and someone who's behind the scenes running the show, she's a different person. She's not the person people see in front of the camera. This environment, this toxic culture that she created in the office has been going on for 16 years.
While I am grateful for the opportunity it afforded me, I did experience and feel the toxicity of the environment, he writes on Instagram.
Allegedly, Ellen was sending people home if she didn't like how you smelled. People were not allowed to eat certain types of food while on set. There were stories of employees being terminated suddenly and without reason. Many employees were allegedly trained to not even make eye contact or expect to be acknowledged.
That's fine. The smell part, that's completely fine. But the food part is definitely not. If you don't like the way I mean my fucking carrot, I don't give a fuck. Suck me off sideways, okay? Bro, like, shit, man.
Acknowledged by Ellen.
A former Ellen staffer writes,
I mean, some of the smell, like the smell part, bro. That's a part of like standard workplace procedure. Fuck. So with that being said, bro, like people like employers, she's technically classified as an employer. So she could send somebody home if she wanted to, because it's uncleanliness is what I'm trying to get at. So
every day and would say hello, and she never once
take care of
said
your
hello
junk.
back. She wouldn't smile. She wouldn't even acknowledge me at all for 2 seasons.
And it sounds like she would go out of her way to publicly embarrass employees on a consistent basis. Basically, it seems like Ellen is one of those people who thinks she is better than others, and she wants to let them know it by acting like they are the dirt underneath her shoe if she deems you or your job is unimportant.
She's getting old,
Understand,
man.
guys, that these stories were not only coming from the workplace, but also from people who were dealing with Ellen in her everyday life. Like this bodyguard who frequently works with celebrities, who said that Ellen was the first and only who he had ever worked for to not even acknowledge his presence. And this waitress who claims that Ellen went out of her way to email her boss to try and get her fired over chipped nail polish.
She emailed the owner of the restaurant and complained about your chipped nail polish.
What?
And I was like, what?
Not only that, but also during her show, her audience members who got to participate in her games and whatnot also had stories of her being an elitist douchebag.
You just expect a lot when you go to meet like your idol, and then when you get disappointed, it's like such a letdown. And they tell you, you know, you can't be smarter, funnier than Ellen. She's the comedian and the star, not you. Would only speak to the audience when the cameras were rolling. As soon as they turned the cameras off, she would not even acknowledge the audience. She would just sit on the couch, basically.
And even when she went over to Australia to do some shows over there, this is what a radio show host who was invited on had to say about his experience and how Ellen treated her staff.
Producers called us aside and said, now, Neil, no one's to talk to Ellen. So you don't talk to her, you don't approach her, you don't look at her.
That's
the people who worked with her
up.
walked on eggshells the whole time, and the whole thing was totally bizarre. Like, we're there to do an interview with her to promote what she's doing, but you can't look at her? Like, someone get real.
And obviously, with her having this long-standing reputation as this person who promoted nothing but positivity, people were shocked and outraged at this walking contradiction that Ellen had become. And at the time, when she tried and failed to make a comeback, she also gave this half-assed apology letter where she tried to dump the blame on everyone else.
I'm just so sorry that it's come to this. I really don't know what to say other than this has gone on way, 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 way too long. People have gotten away with murder.
Basically said she had no idea that this is what life was like on set. Given just the nature of the show is that her employees should love coming to work, no question.
DeGeneres saying she wasn't perfect and realized that some leaders were not as sensitive to human beings as they should have been, adding that reading disturbing allegations about the atmosphere on the show was heartbreaking.
So when Ellen says she's not aware of this environment. You don't think that rings true?
It's a lie.
And this would become a running theme for Ellen not to take any true accountability
power
for
like
her
that, they don't know
downfalls.
what the fuck they're
and then
doing.
she also addressed the situation poorly on her show, basically saying that if these things were going on, that she had no idea about it, while those making the accusations made it sound like she was the ringleader.
How was everybody's summer? Good? Yeah? Mine was great. Being known as the Be Kind Lady is a tricky position to be in. So let me give you some advice out there. If anybody's thinking of changing their title or giving yourself a nickname, do not go with the Be Kind Lady.
And this shit somehow gets even more dystopian when you realize that this was the audience she was standing in front of. The show after that ran for 2 years, and it was essentially a corpse of itself. Forced laughter, forced kindness, and it was clear that Ellen was feeling the pressure while crying about the situation she put herself in. Ratings were at an all-time low, and old clips began to resurface that further shined a light on the downright douchebaggery that Ellen displayed during her interactions with various guests on her show over the years, only further adding to the cancellation of Ellen and her empire brand. And now guys, a whopping 4 years after she was thrown away like a wallet condom, Ellen is back with a stand-up special of all things. And Grandma is holding no punches on this one when it comes to her quest for self-pity. It opens with the classic comedian in the green room shot as she seemingly reflects on her career. But this moment of reflection quickly turns bitter as poor Ellen is ironically painted as being hurt by the mean headlines. And I knew that we were in for a doozy as soon as she walked up the stairs and they showed various headlines from her cancellation era, and that apparently she was accused of going too far and being too gay. Yes, I'm serious.
Being accused of going too far, too gay.
As if that had absolutely anything to do with why people have a problem with her at this point. And that should have been the moment that we all should have known that she was going to play the victim here. I mean, seriously, you had 4 years to reflect, do therapy, ayahuasca in a dirt field with Aaron Rodgers and George Bush, and this is what you come up with? And then they directly address the elephant in the room, her cancellation.
After spending so long with once human ahead of release,
bro, she's getting so
I wanted
old.
to break down exactly what you.
The fucking gravity from the earth is just pulling her under like a fucking force.
Toxic, phony, hypocrite, liar.
I mean, with situations like this, it's almost gotten to the point where I truly believe that some people just lack the ability to take any sort of accountability. She even tries to foreshadow her eventual downfall with a quote from one of her older stand-up specials.
Years ago, I started ending my show by saying, be kind to one another. Here's the downside. I can never do anything unkind ever now.
This toxic workplace angle was the shit that I expected. Now this is when Ellen comes out and a sea of middle-aged white faces just go insane. I mean, I'm serious. I paused the video, I loaded it in 4K, and I didn't see a drop of melanin in the crowd, or anyone under the age of 40 for that matter. She starts out with Botox and face filler jokes, and parlays that into another joke about parallel parking.
I think we all care what people think. We can say we don't. We can pretend we don't care what people think, but all it takes is trying to parallel park in front of a crowded outdoor cafe. Spot looks big enough. You line it up the way you always do. You pull in, cut it a little too close. You're scraping the hubcap the entire way along the curb.
I'm sorry, but on a personal level, Grandma's parking lot adventures just aren't doing it for me. It has the same energy as a boomer trying to step into this century and learn to use an iPhone. She goes on and on about how she doesn't know how to use the basic functions of her car like her fucking windshield wipers, and how embarrassing it apparently is when she cannot turn them off.
Like even if we just can't figure out how to turn our windshield wipers off, which to me is one of the most embarrassing things, is driving a car when it's not raining and the windshield wipers are going. And then you're trying to fiddle with it, trying to turn it off. And you don't know how to turn it off because it's always different. Sometimes it's on the end of the lever on the steering wheel. Sometimes there's a lever within the lever.
Ellen, just stop the bullshit. We know that you have absolutely no shame with your conniving ass. I mean, to be fair, she's always been a pretty clean comedian when it comes to her stand-up, and she's kinda cut from that same cloth as Jerry Seinfeld, which is really not my type of stand-up. Regardless, this whole thing is just not very enticing so far.
Don't get me started on the dashboard lights, too.
Yeah, if I had to say, bro, my stand-up would definitely be Shane Gillis or fucking Jim Carrey or even Kevin Hart. Let me know which type of stand-up you guys like in the comments. I'm actually kind of excited to hear that shit because everyone's different. There's not many of them. But yeah, every single one of them is different, bro. Straight up.
Dashboard lights are not illuminated all the time, so when they are, it must mean something serious, right? But check engine, that's vague. I've checked it, it's there.
Oh, brother, this guy stinks! I mean, you go away for almost 4 years, and this is what you come up with.
That shit is not funny,
with
bro.
all the crazy
I'm sorry.
shit that is taking place in the world, and we gotta hear about your inability to understand cars for 20 minutes.
I have never used my parking brake.
It's for old ladies,
I've never
bro.
Parked my car
Jokes
and
for
thought,
old ladies.
I want it more parked than this.
Now after this, she does jump right into the cancellation, which I really think was the whole purpose of the special and her tour in general.
All right, let me see what else I can tell you about that. It's been going on. Oh yeah, I got kicked out of show business. Yeah, because I'm mean. Yeah, you can't be mean and be in show business. No, they'll kick you out.
And then she kinda half cries about the fact that when she goes to a restaurant, people are just waiting for her to be a bitch or to do something mean, and how she's beyond sick of this mean queen label. And I will admit, some of the dialogue here is pretty funny. I do like this little part about her talking with the therapist about the cancellation.
At one point, my therapist said, Ellen, where do you get this idea that everyone hates you? And I said, well, New York Times, Washington Post.
She then talks about the ironic send-off phrase that she used to use.
Yeah, it's pretty fucking obvious. If somebody hates you and you're
famous,
famous, it's pretty obvious.
She said,
"Go fuck yourselves."
Logan Paul.
So Grandma's really living life on the edge here. I mean, the mask has slipped and she has started to admit her own intolerance for everyday people. And this is when the real deflection starts. Basically, she jokes that harmless pranks and games were the reason behind the toxic workplace allegations. She also claims that she never even wanted to be the boss, and that she wasn't in charge on the set of her shows. Which is a way different tune than what she was singing when she did her first show back after the drama.
I know that I'm in a position of privilege and power, and I realize that with that comes responsibility, and I take responsibility for what happens at my show.
I dare you
really?
to let me build you a
I know this fucking
free
guy.
E-commerce store.
I think I know him.
This is the Ellen DeGeneres Show. I am Ellen DeGeneres. My name is there. My name is there. My name is on underwear. I mean, it looked like I was the boss. The show was called Ellen.
Does she really have a fucking underwear line?
There were buildings all over the Warner Brothers lot that said Ellen, but I don't think that meant that I should be in charge.
I mean, talk about a lazy-ass cop-out when people have gone on record to say that she was the main culprit in creating this environment where bully behavior ran rampant. She also tries to make the point that she got canceled because she is a woman.
Most women aren't raised with confidence. We just aren't, and we're too self-conscious, which is why you rarely see a woman playing air guitar.
Look, Ellen, you didn't get canceled for being a woman, you got canceled for being a fraud. The physical comedy in general here is pretty bad, but hey, she is like 70 years old. She continues here to hammer down the point that
really
she got
fucking
canceled
70?
because she was too far against the grain.
Eventually they're going to kick me out a third time for being old, mean, old, and gay, the triple crown.
Honestly, I would argue that she's become so famous because she was unapologetically gay at a time when it was not very common or accepted.
Looks like she's like 57
and yes, at that
or
time,
something.
she did take a huge chance and faced a lot of backlash for doing so, but it obviously made her a pioneer in the entertainment space, and really a gay icon forever. She then makes this weird illusion that she might be kind of autistic.
Someone did suggest that I get tested to see if I'm on the spectrum. Well, I am on the spectrum. We all are. It's a spectrum.
And then she claims that she has OCD, and she even says that she has ADD. I don't know, this whole special isn't actually the worst thing I've seen in recent times. That award goes to Joe Rogan's recent steaming pile of shit that he put out last month. But much like Joe, I think the main problem here is that it has been such a long time since Ellen has lived any sort of normal life, meaning most of the stuff that she says is just not very relatable to the average person. And her whole dialogue around her cancellation is really just a lot of deflection, and it's not even clever deflection at that. And this speech right here at the end just made me cringe on a whole nother level.
I'm happy not being a boss or a brand or a billboard, just a person, just a multifaceted person with different feelings and emotions, and I can be happy and sad and compassionate or frustrated. I have OCD and ADD. I'm honest, I'm generous, I'm sensitive and thoughtful, but I'm tough and I'm impatient and I'm demanding, I'm direct. I'm a strong woman.
Playing the "I'm just like you" card is downright hilarious. Keep in mind, this
that
is
shit
coming
went on
from
forever.
a
He had to
woman
speed
who
that shit
allegedly
up.
demanded lower levels of her
Jesus
staff
Christ.
on her show not even make eye contact with her, and frequently treated the people
Like, what
she
the fuck
works
is the
with
point
like
of
fucking
doing a
peasants.
stand-up if you're just
I
gonna
mean,
talk
to
about
me,
yourself?
Ellen's always been on some weird Illuminati shit, and something tells me that she spent a lot of time with P. Diddy, if you know what I'm saying. Happy birthday, P. Diddy, Puff Daddy, Sean Combs, or as I call him, Cuddle McSnugglestuff. You don't need to know why. This group of kids had a dream to dance with Diddy. Today that dream came true. No matter what name you go by, you were always one of my favorite people to have on the show, Diddy. Thanks to my friend Diddy. You're always the life of the party. Apparently I have a history of not knowing which parties I've been invited to. At Diddy. Either way, they just give her a standing ovation while she watches on in all her glory.
What the
I mean,
fuck?
seriously, it lasts like a fucking minute. You know, it's almost like watching a kid get a participation trophy. Like, yes, we all know you actually sucked. She closes the show out by basically saying all of those people who thought that she was mean were basing it off of lies, and that only she knows the truth in her heart, and that she hopes that in the end people will remember her as someone who was loved by the masses. And this is where the show really wraps up. They do like 10 different rounds of applause for her in the last 5 minutes, and overall she just kind of paints herself as some sort of martyr, which is just hilarious. Overall, the special was fine, it was just really boring. And I thought that her playing the ignorant victim card was just a massive cop-out. Was this the worst stand-up special I've ever seen?
It kind of
Absolutely
seems
not.
dumb.
I mean, I've watched the Gringo Poppy. I just didn't really...
Because, like, the thing is, why the fuck are you gonna make a special and then try to talk about just, like, your entire self? Like, a comedy special, bro. It's a comedy. It's a comedy, bro. You're there to make people laugh, not there to make people fucking guilt trip about how they fucking kicked you out of Hollywood. Okay? Well, obviously nobody laughed. I mean, bro, I don't like her. I don't like her. I never liked her.
Funny at all,
She's
but
boring
it
as
wasn't
fuck.
exactly like unbearable. And at the end of the day, Ellen's legacy will be that she was a pillar in the gay community, who in my opinion overstayed her welcome and bit off more than she can chew. But I want to know what you guys think about Ellen's comeback down below in the comments. I also want...
There is no comeback. That's it. She's gone. Whatever remnant she could fucking scrape together, she's gonna scrape them. If that makes sense. She's horrible, bro. Even in comedy, man. I didn't like none of her shows. I wasn't around to see what she did back in the whatever the fuck ages, but I can tell you they were probably shit. They're probably really boring. We know you're gay, just shut up and about it be funny. Elton John was way ahead of his time. He was very ahead of his fucking time. I got kicked out of showbiz as she stands on stage with a mic being taped for the biggest streaming service in the world, for which she was paid 8 figures. That is very fucking true. People who have talked about being nice and shit are never nice people. 9.5 times out of 10. Yeah. That is very true. Never idolize any singer, actor, or artist. You have no idea what type of person they may be. Yeah. I feel bad for the people who were fucking idolizing Diddy. Or did. Nah, but that shit about the Diddy comments, bro, that shit is wild. What? You guys see that? That shit was wild as fuck, bro. I have a history of never knowing what type of parties I've been invited to. What the fuck are you talking about, Ellen? What the fuck was that about? Huh? Jesus Christ. Ellen really tried to use the people hate me because I'm gay card in 2024? Yeah, they did. Ellen has this evil look in her eyes. She makes me uncomfortable. She really fucking does, bro. She really does. She makes me uncomfortable too. So I'm glad to know. I'm happy to hear I'm not the only one. Fuck, bro. Hey, man, if you guys like this video, let me know what you guys think in the comments. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Again, make sure you guys are tuned for the next video. And I will see you in the next one, man. Peace.